My brother, Leo, is 3 years older and operates exclusively at 2 speeds, sleeping and hovering near a heat source. It doesn't matter if it's the dead of winter or a summer heat wave. Leo believes the ideal room temperature is 78 degrees. Minimum. My ideal temperature, Maya, is a crisp, breathable 70. This means that our shared house is a permanent war zone, centered on the little digital screen in the hallway. The thermostat. The feud began, as all great wars do, in silence. Leo would creep down, usually around 10 p.m., wrapped in a blanket like a burrito, and silently crank it to 80. 15 minutes later, I would sneak out of my room, already sweating, and dial it back to 70. This escalated quickly from silent adjustments to psychological warfare. One evening, I came downstairs and found the thermostat encased in a clear, industrial-strength plastic lockbox. It looked like a tiny, climate-controlled jail cell. That I looked at Leo, who was lounging on the sofa, radiating heat like a poorly regulated space heater, wearing a fleece vest, earmuffs, and a smug look. "What is that?" I demanded, pointing. "It's a barrier to protect the optimal operating temperature of the residence," he drawled, not looking up from his phone. "Dad installed it for energy conservation. The key is hidden." I knew Dad had done no such thing. Leo had bought it online using his allowance. The battle was officially on. My initial attempts were crude. I tried jamming a butter knife into the small gap around the lock, which only resulted in a loud beep 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 from the box, immediately followed by Leo's triumphant, "Don't be a vandal, Maya." So, I went with precision. The following day, I waited until Leo was deep into his second post-dinner nap on the couch. I crept into his room, fully expecting to find the key hidden under his mattress or taped under his desk. What I found was better. Taped to the inside of his closet door was a hand-drawn map. It was labeled in crayon, "Treasure." The map showed a crude drawing of our backyard, with an X marking the spot directly under the cracked birdbath. A map? Seriously? I thought. He thinks he's Indiana Jones. That I went outside, dug up the dirt, and found not a key, but a single laminated piece of paper. It read, "H.A. You fell for the decoy. The key is now where you least expect it, inside the TV remote battery compartment." I went back inside, furious, and snatched the living room remote. I popped the back off, and there it was, a tiny silver key, taped inside the battery compartment with a microscopic piece of clear tape. I was about to unlock the temperature prison when Leo suddenly burst into the living room, awake and panicked. "No, don't do it," he shouted, running at me. "I hid your phone. If you touch that key, you'll never find your phone again." I stopped, the key dangling just inches from the lockbox. "You didn't," I breathed. "I did. It's gone. Think of the hours of scrolling you'll miss. Now put the key down and we talk terms. 78 degrees until tomorrow morning." He had me. My phone was my lifeline, my social existence, and my only portable entertainment. But the heat was making the tips of my ears sweat. I looked at the little silver key, then at the smirking, earmuff-clad human burrito blocking the thermostat. This wasn't about the temperature anymore. This was a hostage situation, and I needed leverage. "A phone for a key, Leo?" I scoffed, trying to sound bored, even though my shirt was starting to stick to my back. "That's amateur hour. I have the power to put you into hypothermia, and you think a few lost TikToks is going to stop me?" Leo just shrugged, adjusting his fleece earmuffs. "I've seen your TikTok drafts. The world can wait. 78 degrees or the phone stays hidden until the house is condemned." I paused. I needed something he valued more than warmth. Something more visceral than electronics. I looked around the kitchen. My eyes landed on the fridge, specifically the door where a small, magnetic dry erase board hung. It was where Dad wrote down the schedule for our food, and I slowly walked over to the fridge, dramatically pulling the silver key away from the lockbox. "You hid my phone. Fine. But you know what Dad is making for dinner tomorrow night?" I said, picking up the dry erase marker. Leo blinked. He was confused but cautious. "Spaghetti? Who cares?" "No, Leo," I said, circling the word Friday on the board. He's making his famous deep dish Chicago-style pizza, with the secret sauce and the good mozzarella, the one he only makes twice a year. I looked him dead in the eyes, clicked the marker cap off with theatrical flair, and drew a thick, black line through his name under the eater's column. Consider your portion negotiated, I announced. 70 degrees or you're eating cereal while I eat the pizza. Leo's smug expression vanished. His eyes widened slightly. This was serious. Pizza is sacred. You can't do that, he whispered, betrayal heavy in his voice. That's unsibling. That's a crime against carbs. I have the marker, I have the authority, I countered, holding the marker like a weapon. One more word about the temperature, and I'm adding a note that you hate anchovies, even though you secretly love them. He took a slow step back, calculating the risks. Losing his pizza was one thing. Having his anchovy lie exposed was social suicide. Okay, truce, he said, throwing his hands up. You can set it to 75. Compromise. 72, I countered, tapping the lockbox. 74, 73, and you tell me where the phone is, or I tell Mom you broke her favorite mug last week. He groaned, defeated. I always win the blackmail wars. I am organized, and he is a disaster. Fine. 73, he sighed. He pointed dramatically to the laundry room, which had a huge, ancient, industrial-sized washing machine. It's taped to the underside of the detergent dispenser lid. Now unlock the box. I pocketed the key, still holding the marker. You go get the phone. I'll stay here and monitor the temperature transfer. He trudged off, grumbling the entire way. I heard him slam the detergent lid open, followed by a triumphant little cheer when he found the phone. I quickly unlocked the thermostat box, savored the small, mechanical click, and slammed the temperature to 68 degrees. Just a quick blast. Pure, sweet, frosty air immediately started pumping through the vents. I knew I couldn't hold it there, but I needed the victory sip of cold. Leo returned, holding my phone, but he stopped dead in his tracks in the hallway. Wait, did you just hear that? He asked, holding his hand up to the vent. Hear what? I asked innocently, closing the lockbox and repocketing the key. The sound of the AC running. What did you set it to? I can feel my sinuses constricting. 73, per our agreement. I lied flawlessly, handing him the marker that he grabbed the marker, but he was suspicious. He turned back to the lockbox, squinting at the screen inside the plastic jail. I'm checking that later. I knew he would. That's why I had a third and final phase of the plan. This wasn't just about temperature. It was about establishing dominance. And for that, I needed a long-term solution.